Hello, DDP students, and welcome to this second installment of assembling our Autonoma box. We've already got the followers, the axle rod, the handle, the bushing here, the box. We need the cams, and we're going to install something else, a ruler spacer. We're going to talk about this. This is really important before we install the cams. Our crank needs to be at point 0 here. And if you installed the handle the way that I installed the handle, so the hole here is along the axle, so that makes that this handle is pointing straight down. If you installed it this way and it's hasn't been turned, or you saved it this way, it should just be naturally at the 0 position. If we zoom in, we could see that that's a 0 degree. So if we were to move that, you see the degrees move like that. So we need this to be at the 0 degree mark. All right, so hopefully you saved it that way and is orientated that way. So it needs to be this way before we can insert our next piece, which is going to be a ruler spacer. So it looks like this. I know from experience that this needs to be flipped 100 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and do that. This has some measurements on it, and the back side of it, let me just put 180. Okay, and the back side of it has backwards numbers. We want to make sure that if we look at this, this has the 270 here. This is 90 degrees, which will make this right here, 0. And of course, this is going to be our 180 right here. So we're ready to assemble this to this side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a joint here, and let's try to, I see that target appear right there. I'm just going to hit that right there. And then I'm going to zoom in. Let me close this data panel, give us more room. Okay, I'm going to zoom way in, and I'm going to get the circle of the axle rod here. It's going to go there. Let's get a straight right view. And we want to center this. So there's, it's not all the way at the bottom, but it's centered right here in the handle. This looks good because the 0 and the 0 are aligned here. This 270, it all looks like it's orientated correctly. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to look at the side and see that it is flush as much as can be. We don't want it to be embedded into the box. Kind of seems that way. So I'm just going to make this 1.4. That seems better to me. So I'm just going to hit that and I'm going to set that. So before we put our cams in, this has to be 0 position. All right, just so that's understood. And when we put our cams in, let's insert our first cam. It needs to be put on the axle rod in the lowest position, which means that it's the shortest distance from the hole, all right, or the point where the follower is going to be at its lowest point. So I'm going to install the eccentric cam. All right, I'm going to rotate it to the orientation that, let's get that here, 90 degrees, okay. I'm going to move it, I could just do it on this side, but what we want to consider when we're looking at our cams is where is the lowest part going to be with the follower. We can see that because there's the greatest distance. Let me get a better view here. There's the greatest distance between the hole and this side, that this is going to be the maximum height right here. Whereas here, there's the shortest distance between the hole and the top here, or the bottom. So we want to orientate this, and let's do it in 90 degrees. So this is going to be 180. All right, so the shortest, so this is going to be the lowest that the follower is going to be, and that's the way we want this to be orientated. So we're going to go to our assembly joint, We're going to get that circle right there. Let's go to the axle rod. Okay, we're gonna throw that cam on there. Let's go push it here. So we want to move this so it's directly underneath the follower. Let's just play with the numbers a little. Okay, so let's try 0.5. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, so I'm just going to set that. I see that the smallest displacement is here. That looks good to me. All right, cool. Now I'm going to bring this follower down here. And I'm just going to bring this right there so it's touching. And then I'm going to move on to the next cam and we're going to go from there. So the next one I'm going to install is my heart cam. Insert into the current design. This is going to take a little more figuring here. So let's first orientate it 90 degrees. Here, let's get, there we go. 90. All right. Let's put this up. All right. So we at least have it facing the right way, but now we want to consider where the lowest part of the follower is going to be. So one thing I can ascertain is at these points here, this is where the follower is going to rise, is going to drop here, it's going to rise here, it's going to drop here, and then it's going to rise at this point here. So because it's going to rise here and it's going to rise here, there's not a lot of space here before the next rise. So I'm going to ascertain that the lowest is going to be is about here. All right. So I'm going to orientate it 90 degrees and see where that leaves me. Okay, so that's going to leave me at this bump right here. All right, and I know it's going to rise there. I want it to be more here, facing upwards. Let's try something like 130, 135. No, let's do 120, something like that. Okay, I'm gonna go, actually, I'm gonna do 125, maybe 130. 130. We're going to go with negative 130. All right, I'm going to go with it. All right, cool. So we have that set here. I'm going to go to my joint. Okay. And let's get a good front view going. Okay, and see where we're at here. So that's 3. So let's try 5. Let's try there. That looks good. Maybe we can rotate that a little more. I think that right here is good. So this is a flat surface here, and I'm thinking right here when it comes down, that's going to be our lowest point right here. Okay. So, okay, I'm going to set that. I'm going to bring this follower down as well. Let's just make sure it's right on top. All right. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to connect these together. So we're going to go to our assemble, and this says new contact set, but at the very beginning, it might say enable contact set. That's what you want to do first. So I've already been messing with this. So it says new contact set. So and what we want is enable contact set. Okay. Since I've already done that, you would do that. Then you would go back into assemble, and then you would do new contact set. All right. So what we're going to do is we're now going to take this whole follower and this cam. We're going to connect them together. We're going to hit OK. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the slider joint that's right here. Let you get a better look at that. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit the motion limits here. All right. We're going to go to our rest. Okay, we're just gonna mess around with this a little bit. I'm not sure what we're looking for. Okay, so let's try 1. Okay, so let's try 1.25. That didn't work. Let's try, okay, negative 1.25. Let's try negative 1.5. Okay, good, good. What we want is for this follower to be embedded in this just a little bit, okay? So let me try 1.7. All right, so now it's kind of inside cam like that. That looks good to me. We want it kind of inside, but not so far that it's anywhere near the axle rod. So I'm gonna hit okay, and it's just gonna bounce right back up here, all right? Now I'm gonna do the same thing to this. I'm gonna assemble, new contact set. I'm gonna choose my follower, choose my cam, hit OK. I'm gonna go to my slider joint. I'm gonna go to edit motion limits. Go to my rest. Again, I'm not really sure. I'm gonna try 1.7. All right, and that is looking pretty good. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna do 1.75. All right, cool. Hit OK. It's gonna pop back up. Now let's see what we got here. All right, I had just paused the video to bring a more complete model out so you can see how all the parts are going to move together with the visuals as well. And it'll give you a more complete sense of how this is all going to come together. So up until now, you had joined these different parts by going into assemble, and this new contact should have said enable contact set at the very beginning. Then you close it, you go back to new contact set, then you chose the follower, the cam, and you did the same thing here and here for your other cams, and then you adjusted the motion limits of your joint sliders right here. And once that's all been done, in order for all of the parts to move together, we're going to go to our browser, and under joints, we're going to do the drop down menu, and we're going to go to Revolute, and we're going to do animate joint relationships. All right. And that is how all of the motion should be. Of course, yours is going to look much different with different motion, different cams, different visuals, but this is a good idea of what we're looking for as a finish. Also, just to point out, this ruler spacer here is not moving with the handle, and it shouldn't be. So this is what we're looking for. So the deliverables for this assignment is an screenshot, an isometric view, but we want to also see the cam. So we want to tilt it so we could see the cams, the right side and the top. We want to do an exploded view drawing. You should have made a new component for each of these parts and named it. So there should be a parts table that has the name of each of these different components. Lastly, you're going to make a video of this motion right here once you animate the whole model. And that is going to be submitted to the Google Classroom assignment. The first two that I mentioned, the screenshot and the exploded view, will be submitted to the engineer's notebook. And after this is completed, we're going to move on to starting our physical model. See you there.